Welcome back to Chase Circle, where every story takes you a little adventure. Today, I'm going to share with you a story that's full of surprise and maybe even a lesson or two. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into this journey together.
Megan's voice came through the phone like ice. "Where is my daughter? Bring her back. Now." I looked down at Lily's small hands locked around my sleeve. Her cheeks were blotchy from crying in the cold. I said, "She's safe with me." Megan snapped. "You have no right. You're ruining this for the family." I asked, "Do you understand they found her alone at a bus stop on Christmas Eve?" She didn't answer. She only repeated, "Bring her back." In that moment, I realized my own sister was willing to let an 8-year-old learn she was disposable, and she expected me to help. If you've ever been pushed to stay quiet for the family, tell me in the comments, because I need to know I'm not the only one. A few hours earlier, in my apartment in Phoenix, Arizona, it was Christmas Eve. I was wrapping gifts at the kitchen table, trying to keep the night normal, with tape stuck to me. My 9-year-old daughter was asleep in her room. The place was quiet. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. But I answered. A woman said, calm and professional, "Ma'am, this is Officer Williams with Phoenix Police. We have a child here who says you're her aunt." My brain stalled. "My niece? She gave us your name," the officer said. "Her name is Lily Reynolds. She's 8. She was found alone at a bus stop not far from here." Alone. Bus stop. Christmas Eve. 8. I stood up so fast my chair scraped. My fingers went numb around the phone. "Where is her mother?" "We've been calling her," the officer said. No answer. Lily's mother is my sister, Megan, and somehow her little girl had been sitting outside in the dark. I told the officer I was coming. I grabbed my keys, my coat, and ran. The station lights were harsh. I gave my name at the desk and signed where they pointed. My hand shook. Then I saw Lily. She was curled up on a plastic chair, wearing a thin jacket that didn't belong in that night air. Her face was red. Her eyes were swollen. When she spotted me, she launched herself into my arms. She clung to me, like she was afraid I would vanish if she let go. I held her tight. I kept saying, "I'm here. You're okay. I've got you." My voice sounded steady. Inside, I was not. An officer crouched near us. "Lily, can you tell me what happened tonight?" Lily stared at my shoulder. Then she whispered, "Mom said I ruin Christmas every year." The sentence hit like a slap. An 8-year-old doesn't make that up. The officer asked, "What did your mom do after she said that?" Lily swallowed. She said she wanted one Christmas without me. Her lip trembled. She drove me to the bus stop and told me to sit and wait. "Wait for who?" he asked. Lily shook her head. She didn't say. Her voice got smaller. I waited. It got dark. I got scared. I didn't know what to do. "A stranger had noticed her sitting there too long," she explained. "Someone walking by who thought it looked wrong. That person called the police." The officer thanked her. I kept my arm around Lily, trying not to let my anger show, not in front of her. Another officer told me they had called Megan again and again. No answer. "We believe she knows we're looking," he said. "She may be avoiding the call." Avoiding the call. Like it was a mistake she could sleep off. They let me take Lily home after I signed paperwork. The officer said Child Protective Services would be notified. There would be follow-up. In the parking lot, Lily walked so close she bumped my arm. In my car, she didn't stop gripping my hand until we pulled away. On the drive back, she stared out the window. Every few minutes, she glanced at me, like she was checking I was still real. At home, I turned on every lamp. I made hot chocolate. I wrapped her in a blanket. I asked, "Why would your mom say you ruin Christmas?" Lily looked into her mug. "Because I spill things," she said. "And I broke an ornament once. And when I asked to help bake, she said I was annoying. Those weren't crimes. Those were normal kid mistakes. But she said them like a confession. I felt something settle in me. This wasn't one bad night. This had been building. I tucked her in on my couch because she didn't want to be alone in a room. I sat nearby, listening to her breathing slow. And I thought about Lily at that bus stop, waiting for an adult who never came back. I checked her fingers for warmth the way you do when you're trying to pretend you're calm. They were cold, then slowly warmed in my palms. I asked if she was hungry. She said no, then a minute later said maybe. I put out cookies I'd meant for my daughter. Lily took one bite and stopped, like she was waiting to be yelled at. I told her, "In this house, you don't get punished for being a kid." She stared at me, confused, like that sentence didn't fit any rules she knew. When I brushed her hair back, I noticed how careful she was with every movement, like she'd learned to make herself small so nothing could be blamed on her. That night, I left my phone on the table, volume up, waiting for Megan to call. Part of me wanted an explanation. Another part of me already knew there wasn't one, really. If you're still with me, stay. Because the next morning, Megan didn't call to apologize. She called to take control, and I had to decide what I would tolerate. If you think I did the right thing, tell me below, because I needed that steadiness more than sleep. Part 2. Christmas morning came without sleep. Lily dozed in short bursts on my couch, wrapped in my thickest blanket. I kept the tree lights on low, like a nightlight for both of us. When my phone finally rang, it was Megan. No apology, no, "Is she okay?" Just a sharp, angry breath and then, "Where is she?" I said. "She's here. Bring her home," Megan ordered. "Right now." I kept my voice flat. "The police found her alone at a bus stop last night." Megan's tone didn't change. I needed a break. For the family. I needed one Christmas where I could breathe. "For the family," I repeated, because that phrase was doing a lot of work for her. "She's exhausting," Megan said. "She ruins everything. Every year. I can't do it anymore." Lily was 8 years old. She wasn't a coworker. She wasn't a bad roommate. She was a child, I said. "Needing a break doesn't mean you leave your kid in public, in the dark." Megan scoffed. "Someone found her. So what? She's fine. Stop acting like I threw her off a bridge." That was the moment my stomach turned. Not because of what she said, but because of how easy it was for her to say it. I looked over at Lily. She was awake now, watching my face, reading me the way kids learn to read storms. I turned my back so Lily couldn't see my mouth tighten. "I'm not bringing her back today," I told Megan. "You can't keep her," Megan snapped. "You're not her mother." "No," I said. "But I'm the adult who picked her up when you didn't." Megan tried a different angle. "Jessica, don't do this. People will talk. You're splitting the family." There it was. Reputation. The thing that always mattered more than the mess underneath it. I said, "I'm reporting everything Lily told the police, and everything she told me." Megan went silent for a beat, then hissed, "You're really going to do this to me on Christmas?" "I'm doing this for Lily," I said, and I hung up. I stared at my phone after I hung up. My heart was racing, but the line Megan crossed was clear. Lily whispered, "Is Mom mad?" I knelt in front of her. "She's mad at me," I said. "Not at you. You didn't do anything wrong." Later that morning, I got a call from a social worker. Her voice was warm but businesslike. She told me she'd reviewed the police report and needed to speak with Lily and with me. She arrived that afternoon with a folder in her hands and a careful expression. Lily sat on the edge of my couch, feet tucked under her, still wearing my sweatshirt because it made her feel hidden, she said. The social worker introduced herself and asked Lily to tell her what happened. Lily told the story again, the same way she told the police. "Mom said I ruined Christmas. She said she wanted one Christmas without me. She took me to the bus stop and told me to wait." The social worker's face changed with each sentence. Not dramatic, just a slow tightening around the eyes. The kind of reaction people have when they're hearing something they can't explain away. She asked, "Did your mom tell you when she would come back?" Lily shook her head. "No." "Did you have a phone?" "No." "Were you scared?" Lily nodded once. "Yes." The social worker asked about other days. Lily hesitated, then said quietly, "Sometimes Mom says I make everything harder." I watched Lily's hands twist in the sleeves of my sweatshirt. My chest hurt, but I stayed still. This wasn't the time for my feelings to take up space. The social worker asked me what I had seen. I told her only what I knew: the police call, the station, Lily's thin jacket, Megan's refusal to answer, Megan's call that morning. Her words: "For the family. She ruins everything. Someone found her." If you've ever had to repeat the same facts out loud, again and again, just to be believed, I want you to tell me you understand, because it wears you down. The social worker took notes. Then she said, "For now, Lily will need to stay somewhere safe while we investigate." I felt my shoulders drop, not from relief, but from the weight becoming real. "She can stay here," I said. She nodded. "That's what I'm recommending. We'll do a temporary placement with you while the investigation is open." Lily looked between us. "Do I have to go back?" she asked, barely audible. I reached for her hand. "Not today," I said. The social worker explained rules in plain language. There would be check-ins. There would be paperwork. Megan would be contacted through official channels. Lily would be spoken to again. They didn't promise outcomes. They promised process. My phone buzzed nonstop. Megan, texts, missed calls, voicemails. Not one message asked if Lily had been cold. Not one asked if she'd been scared. Every message was about me, about what I was doing, about how I was making her look. I didn't answer. The next day, the social worker called again to confirm the temporary arrangement. She said, "This will likely go to court for a temporary custody order." I stared at my kitchen sink, hands in dishwater, and thought, this is where families break, not with screaming, but with paperwork. I didn't want to fight Megan. I wanted Megan to be a mother, but Lily's safety had already been treated like a negotiable thing, and I wasn't going to negotiate my niece's dignity. I stocked my pantry, washed extra sheets, and kept my voice calm, because Lily needed quiet steadiness, not speeches, while adults decided her life. At the end of that week, I signed more forms and prepared for what came next. If you're feeling the pressure of family used like a weapon, stay with me, because the courtroom was where Megan tried to rewrite the story. Part 3. Once Lily was placed with me, my apartment felt different. She watched everything, waiting for the moment she would be blamed. When I asked what she wanted for breakfast, she froze. "Anything is fine," she said, fast. I gave her 2 simple choices. She picked one, then watched me cook like she was expecting punishment. I kept it steady. No speeches. Just proof, over and over. You can sit there. You can help. If you spill, we clean it. On the 3rd day, she knocked over a cup of water. Lily snapped tight, eyes on the floor. I handed her a towel. "No problem," I said. When my voice stayed calm, her shoulders dropped. A child shouldn't have to read an adult to survive a puddle. We did simple things. A movie on the couch, a puzzle on the floor. My daughter showed Lily her favorite cartoon and didn't act like sharing was a sacrifice. Lily laughed once, sudden and surprised, then covered her mouth like laughter was rude. One afternoon, Lily asked if she could help bake cookies. Her voice was cautious, like she expected to be called a problem before she even touched the flour. I said, "Yes, if you want." She washed her hands 3 times. She moved like she was walking through a museum. When she sprinkled flour and it drifted onto the counter, she flinched. I told her, "Flour is supposed to get everywhere. That's how you know you're doing it." She stared at the mess, then at me, then she smiled. Small, real. The kind of smile you see when a kid finally believes the room is safe. Megan, meanwhile, was relentless. Texts, calls, voicemails. The same themes, over and over. I was turning Lily against her. I was breaking the family. I was making things public. I was humiliating her. Every message was a performance, even when no one was watching. What she never said was Lily cold? She never said, "Is she scared?" She never said, "I'm sorry." When I didn't answer, Megan left messages that sounded sweet on the surface. "Jess, we need to talk." Then the next one would be sharp. If you don't fix this, I'll never forgive you. Then she tried guilt. Mom is upset. You're causing stress. It's Christmas season. Why are you doing this? She talked like Lily was a package stuck in the wrong house, not a person who had been left outside. I saved the messages. I didn't reply. I kept everything simple and official, because that was what the social worker advised. Let the process do its job. If you've ever had someone blame you for the consequences of their own choices, tell me. Not to stir drama, just so we can say it out loud together. The court date for temporary custody came fast. It wasn't a full trial, it was a temporary hearing, but it still felt like stepping into a spotlight I didn't want. Megan showed up looking polished, hair done, nice clothes, calm face. The kind of calm that says, I know how to look right in a room full of strangers. I wore what I had, nothing dramatic. I wasn't trying to win on appearance. I was trying to tell the truth. Megan spoke as if she was the one being harmed. She said I had taken her daughter. She said I was overreacting. She said I had misunderstood a private family moment. She said she was tired and overwhelmed and needed support, not judgment. She said, again, I needed a break. For the family. I listened without interrupting. My hands were cold. My jaw hurt from holding it still. When it was my turn, I didn't decorate the story. I said the plain facts. On December 24th, the police called me. They had Lily Reynolds, age 8, at the station. She had been found alone at a bus stop. Megan did not answer the police calls. Lily told the officers, and later told me and the social worker, that Megan drove her there and told her to wait because she ruins Christmas. Megan's face tightened for half a second. Then she smoothed it back into her victim look. The judge didn't look impressed by performance. The judge looked at the police report, looked at the social worker's notes, asked a few direct questions. Megan kept leaning on the same line. She's difficult. She's exhausting. I was doing what I had to do. The judge's voice was even. Leaving a child unattended in a public place at night is not an acceptable parenting choice. I felt my throat close, not from triumph, but from grief that it had to be said out loud in the first place. The temporary order came down. Lily would stay with me. Megan would have supervised visitation. The social worker explained what supervised meant in plain terms. A set place, a set time, another adult present, notes taken, no surprises. I didn't celebrate. I just breathed. Lily didn't need a victory lap. She needed predictability. I wrote the dates on my calendar and kept my tone neutral, because every overheard word could make her feel like the reason adults were fighting, again and again. When we walked out, Megan hissed under her breath. You think you won! I didn't answer. I wasn't trying to win. I was trying to stop Lily from being treated like a mistake. Back at home, Lily asked, Do I have to go with her? I said, Visits will be supervised. I kept my voice calm. You won't be alone. She nodded slowly, like she was building a new map of what safety could look like. That night, flour still dusted the counter from our cookies. Lily helped wipe it up without fear. My daughter told her a joke. Lily laughed and didn't apologize for it. And I sat there, watching them, thinking about how hard it is to undo a message a child has heard 1,000 times. You're the problem. Megan could keep calling it for the family. But I could see what it really was. Control. Part 4. After the temporary order, the days didn't suddenly get easy. They just got structured. Lily had a new routine. School, dinner, homework at my kitchen table, cartoons with my daughter, a bedtime that didn't depend on someone's mood. She started asking questions that told me how low the bar had been. Can I get a second glass of milk? Is it okay if I talk during the movie? Do I have to say sorry for laughing? Each time I answered the same way, calm, simple. Yes, sure, no, you don't. I wasn't trying to replace Megan in Lily's head. I was trying to stop Megan's voice from living there rent-free. The supervised visits were supposed to be the next step. The adults around us called it a plan. Lily called it seeing Mom. The first scheduled visit came. Lily woke up early and picked out her shirt 3 times. She kept checking the clock. I didn't hype it up. I didn't trash Megan. I only said, "We're going to the visit. You'll be with safe adults the whole time." When we arrived, we waited in a neutral room with plastic chairs and a stack of old magazines. Lily sat very still, hands folded, like she was trying to be the easiest child on earth. Minutes passed. Then a worker came in and spoke softly to me. "She's not here," she said. Lily heard anyway. Her chin lifted fast. "She's coming," she insisted, like if she believed hard enough it would be true. We waited longer. Megan never showed. On the drive home, Lily stared out the window the way she had the night I picked her up. Quiet. Guarded. I didn't push her to talk. I only said, "That wasn't your fault." She nodded once, but her eyes stayed fixed on the streetlights. The next visit was the same. Megan confirmed, then didn't appear. A third time, she didn't come. Megan kept calling me, though. That never stopped. When she called, she spoke like she was being persecuted. "They're making it impossible. You poisoned everyone against me. You're enjoying this." I would say, "Lily is waiting," and Megan would respond with something about paperwork, about being judged, about how unfair it all was. And still, "No, I'm sorry." The pattern was clear. Megan cared about the image of motherhood more than the work of it. The social worker documented everything. Missed visits, messages, Lily's reactions. They didn't use emotional language. They used dates. At home, Lily started relaxing anyway, not all at once, in layers. She stopped asking permission to breathe. One night she dropped a spoon on the floor and didn't flinch. She just picked it up and kept eating. Another day, she accidentally smeared frosting on the counter and laughed when my daughter teased her gently. No panic, no apology. I watched these tiny moments like they were milestones, because for her they were. Months passed. The investigation moved forward in the background, through meetings and reports I didn't control. The social worker visited our apartment more than once. She asked Lily the same questions in different ways, checking for consistency, checking for fear. Lily answered with the same steady truth each time. I could see how exhausting it was for her to repeat it, but she did it anyway. My daughter learned to give Lily space when she went quiet, and to pull her back in with ordinary things, like drawing at the table. I stayed neutral, so Lily's words could stand alone in the record. I went where I was told. I answered what I was asked. I kept my life boring, because boring is safe. Megan's messages shifted from rage to bargaining. "Just give her back and we can forget this. Think about Mom. Think about what people will say. Don't make this permanent. Permanent." That word made my throat tighten every time she used it, like Lily's life was a decision Megan could delay until it was convenient. I told Megan, once, "You made this permanent the night you left her." After that, I stopped engaging at all. When the next court date came, Megan arrived dressed the same way she had before, like she was going to an interview. She spoke about stress, about how hard it was to be a single mom, about needing help, about how everyone was judging her instead of supporting her. No one denied that parenting is hard, but the facts were still the facts. The court reviewed the police report again, the social worker's notes, the missed supervised visits, Lily's consistent account, my consistent account. Megan kept insisting she had done it for the family, as if that phrase could wash the bus stop away. The judge kept the focus where it belonged, on Lily's safety and stability. Lily stayed with me. A few months later, Megan made a choice that sounded, on paper, like surrender. She signed away her parental rights so she wouldn't have to carry responsibility anymore. I didn't celebrate that either. It was grim. It was also honest, because it meant Megan was admitting, in the only language the system respects, that she wasn't going to show up. After that, the legal adoption moved forward. There were forms. There were signatures. There were required steps I followed without flair. The day it became official, Lily didn't cry. She just held my hand and said, very quietly, "So I'm staying." I said, "Yes, you're staying." She let out a breath, like she'd been holding it since that bus stop. At home that night, we ate dinner like any other night. My daughter asked Lily what book she wanted to read next. Lily answered without looking down first. I watched her face, calmer now, and I felt my own dignity return in pieces. Not because I had won something, but because I had refused to be complicit. If you've ever been told to let it go while a child pays the price, please say something in the comments. Because silence is how it keeps happening. Part 5. A year later, on Christmas Eve, I was back at the same kitchen table in Phoenix, Arizona. Wrapping paper, tape, scissors, the same kind of quiet, but it didn't feel the same. Lily was 9 now, a little taller, a little steadier. She was sitting on the floor with my daughter, arguing about which ribbon looked better, like kids do when they believe they're allowed to have an opinion. I watched them, and I thought about that first night. The police station, the thin jacket, the way Lily clung to me like I was the last safe thing in the world. And I thought about how close I came to being talked out of helping her, just because Megan was my sister. If you've ever protected a child and got called the problem for it, leave me a comment. I'm not looking for praise. I'm looking for proof that people still choose kids over ego. Life over that year wasn't perfect. It was just stable. And stability is what Lily needed. She started sleeping through the night. She stopped jumping at small noises. She stopped asking if she was too much. At home, she laughed more. She talked more. She also got quiet sometimes, usually around holidays, usually when something reminded her of being unwanted. When that happened, I didn't demand a mood change. I sat near her. I let her feel what she felt without turning it into a crisis. My daughter and Lily became a pair. Not identical, not always easy, but real. They fought over the remote. They shared snacks. They built little traditions that didn't require an adult's permission. Megan faded into the background the way she had during those missed visits. Not with accountability, with distance. She never came back saying she understood what she'd done. She never came back asking how Lily was healing. She only surfaced in small, cold ways that kept her connected to the idea of motherhood without the responsibility. Sometimes she sent messages through official channels that sounded careful and polished. Nothing warm, nothing personal. And then, near the holidays, a card arrived. It was addressed to Lily Reynolds, my last name written under it in the corner, like someone correcting a mistake. The envelope was plain, no glitter, no drawing, no I love you. Inside was a stiff card with a short note. Not cruel, not kind, just empty. Like a form letter. Lily stared at it for a long moment. I didn't tell her what to do with it. I didn't dramatize it. I watched her face. Then she folded the card once, slowly, and put it in a drawer. Calm, almost bored. That was the real ending. Not a big speech, not a perfect apology, just a child choosing not to chase someone who had already proved they wouldn't come. That night we made cookies like we always did now. Lily insisted on measuring the flour herself. She dumped too much in and then looked at me, waiting. I said, "We'll fix it." My daughter giggled and flicked a little flour at Lily's sleeve. Lily gasped, then laughed, and flicked some back. Soon the counter was dusted white. The floor had little footprints. The air smelled like sugar and butter and something softer, something like safety. A year earlier, flour on the counter would have been ruining Christmas. Now it was just evidence of kids being kids. Later, after they went to bed, I stood in the doorway for a minute the way I had on that first night, listening to 2 steady breaths. I thought about how Megan used to say she needed a break for the family, and how that phrase was supposed to make everyone step back and excuse the inexcusable. I thought about how easy it would have been to hand Lily back, to avoid conflict, to keep the peace on the surface. But peace built on a child's fear isn't peace. It's obedience. And I wasn't raising my daughter or Lily to think they deserved that. On Christmas morning, Lily ran into the living room first. She didn't walk slowly like she was afraid to take up space. She didn't ask if she was allowed to touch the presents. She just sat down, cross-legged, and started reading the tags. When she saw her name, she smiled. Not surprised, not suspicious, just sure. She opened gifts and said thank you without looking over her shoulder for someone's approval. My daughter pulled Lily into a hug and Lily hugged back, hard, without stiffening. In the kitchen, Lily asked if we could make pancakes. She didn't whisper it. She didn't apologize for wanting something. I said yes. Of course. She cracked an egg and a little shell fell into the bowl. She fished it out with her finger and shrugged. I didn't react. She didn't flinch. We ate at the table with syrup and laughter and crumbs. We made a mess. We cleaned it. No one called anyone a burden. Megan's card stayed in the drawer. Lily didn't bring it up again. That was her boundary, not mine. I didn't tell Lily to forgive. I didn't tell her to hate. I told her the truth in age-appropriate pieces. Adults are responsible for their choices, and children are not responsible for saving adults from themselves. She accepted that truth the way kids do when it matches what they've already lived. Sometimes, late at night, I would remember the bus stop and feel my hands go cold. I would remember Lily's voice in that station, saying her mom wanted a Christmas without her. And then I would hear Lily's laughter from earlier that day, flour on her nose, and I would feel my spine straighten. Because in the end, the system saw what happened. The court acted, the investigation did its job, Lily got safety. And I got my own dignity back, one decision at a time. Not because I was brave, because I refused to just let it go when a child was the one paying for everyone else's comfort.